Hi, I'm Art Kaplan at the Division of Medical Ethics at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine. Well, there's been a lot of controversy spawned by the COVID pandemic about what to do with misinformation, particularly about vaccines. Uh, the internet, social media, full of false information about the risks and the dangers of vaccines. I'm sure many watching this have to deal with patients who come in saying they read something on some site that is just completely wrong or false, made up. There are plenty of anti-vaccine individuals and groups that are committed to stopping vaccination at any price, and they will circulate any type of suggestion or possibility that vaccines are dangerous or useless. And it is well established by not only people who are in government, but by groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics, that COVID vaccinations are very safe, that COVID vaccinations can help prevent long-term side effects or deaths from COVID. And we know that vaccines are absolutely very useful for dealing with all manner of childhood infectious diseases. Sadly, one of the biggest groups out there that promotes disinformation is sometimes doctors. And I don't want to suggest there are a lot of them, but there are doctors and a few nurses who have made a reputation for themselves as anti-vaccine heroes to anti-vaccine groups. Their power and influence is strong. Some of them are against all vaccines. Some say, don't follow the vaccine schedule, stretch it out in ways that endanger, particularly children, when you're not doing what the recommended dosage schedule is. And then others are simply there promoting alternative medicines, sometimes when they're selling those very alternative medicines rather than saying to get vaccinated. Professional groups have condemned these physicians. One or two, in my experience now, have actually had their licenses challenged. But generally speaking, sadly, these doctors, these small number of doctors, have been getting away with spreading misinformation without penalty. The state of California has finally had enough. They have approved a bill that allows the state medical board in California to discipline physicians specifically who spread misinformation about COVID-19. And they say that is unprofessional conduct. It meets the standard for unprofessional conduct, disseminating falsity about COVID vaccination, its prevention, its treatment as well in terms of dealing with the virus. And maybe by the time this airs, the governor will have signed that bill. So I hope that the governor signs it. And I think this legislation is needed. And I would like to see more states enact similar legislation. Some say, look, the professional societies that govern licensure in states already have the authority to take away a license or put someone on suspension for disseminating false information about COVID. But in all honesty, very few have. And some feel that their, if you will, charge to watch out for unprofessional conduct doesn't really include sending out false information about COVID vaccines or COVID treatment. They say, isn't that free speech? Well, the answer, as California is showing us, is no. You're harming people, you're hurting those who are vulnerable, children, prisoners, those in long-term care facilities and nursing homes who need these vaccines, who need to take monoclonal antibodies if they do get infected. It violates what doctors ought to be doing. So even though one might argue, well, you already have the power, California being clear, loud, and pointed in saying, you risk your license if you get on board disinformation, falsity, false facts. You're going to have to count to the medical board for doing that. Still in the middle of a pandemic that hasn't gone away and facing others that might emerge, such as monkeypox, or the return of diseases like measles because of lower vaccination rates for kids. I think this is precisely the time to get on board that type of legislation and make it clear that sending out false information, putting people at risk by lying, has consequences for the doctors and nurses who do it. I'm Art Kaplan. I'm at the Division of Medical Ethics at NYU's Grossman School of Medicine, and thank you for watching.